One, two. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, if we can start getting seated, we'll get the show on the road. Pastor Birch, would you just open with a prayer, please? This is for everybody that this is my pastor, Donald J. Birch Jr.
I'm going to ask if there are men that may have a hat or a cap on, if you would remove it. Ladies, it's okay. But this is in honor and in respect for our Lord and Savior, as well as it is in respect for our dear brother of the future. Would you just bow your heads in a moment of prayer? Lord our Father, how thankful we are to you for your assembling us together this morning. It may be at a time in which it is uncomfortable for us emotionally and even spiritually, but nothing is beyond the far-reaching hands and the sovereignty of your care. So we come to place a wonderful and a peaceful benediction on the life of Dustin. And we come to hear not just encouraging and affirming words, come to hear your words, your sweet and serene voice, to encourage, to uplift, to support us. In this, a moment that some say is the worst, but for we, every moment of our life, it is but a moment for the unfolding and the revelation of your purpose and your plan. Do that this morning through these words, through the songs, and most of all, through your presence. And all the people of God said, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. Let's go over to the center. That way everybody can
All
see.
right.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dustin's niece, Shirley's granddaughter. And I'm so glad that we're here today to celebrate Dustin's life. Ended way too short, but obviously through this room, we know that he's loved. And I'm going to read a poem that we wanted to read, but obviously we cannot read today. I am free. Do not grieve for me, for now I'm to follow the path God made for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day, to love, to laugh, to work or play. Tasks left undone must stay that way, for I found peace at the last day, at day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembering joy. A friendship shared, a laugh and kiss. Oh yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with hearts of sorrow. My wish for you is the hope of tomorrow. My life has been full. I've savored much, good friends, good times, and loved ones touch. Perhaps my time seemed too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your heart and share with me. God wants me now. He has set me free. And I just would like to say, I know meaning doesn't look at the words today, but I can honestly say that she has been a mother to the end. Her undying love for him was shown. I think all of us know that. And I know she's going to grieve this loss every single day, but he's always with you and he knew that you loved him. I love
Justin.
Okay, hello everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Justin. I'm Courtney's husband. So just to give y'all a little background on myself. So I met Dustin about 20 years ago when we started dating. And the very first time I met him, he honestly he scared the hell out of me. Y'all, everybody here knows Justin, man of room. And he walked in. I walked into Mimi's house and knew he was coming. I'd been prepping this the entire time. It was like, hey, Mom, Dustin said, like, it's a big deal. And, I walked in and he did that scowl. I can't even do it, but he did that scowl with his eyebrow. He looked at me, went it down, and then shook my hand real hard and he pulled me in for a hug, started laughing, and then we've been friends ever since. This loss is hard for a lot of people. Something I can do, but this loss is hard for a lot of people. I mean, obviously, like everybody in this room, a lot of y'all traveled a long ways. He touched a lot of hearts. And over the last few years, I got the extreme pleasure to get really close with Dustin. We worked together. We spent a lot of time together. Really high highs and really low lows. Our relationship was a little bit different. Like I said, Dustin can command the room, but I also can command the room. Obviously not today, I'm upset, but so we would butt heads a lot. And he would tell me like it was in his eyes, and I'd tell him like it was in my eyes. It just, we always go back and forth. And I don't have many words to say. I tried to write something down, but in true Dustin fashion, I kept thinking he would want me to go up here and just wing it and just say what was ever on my mind. And all I can say is thank you all for coming out here and showing me, Shirley, and our entire family all the support that you have throughout the last few weeks. All I'd say is thank you, and I really appreciate every one of you. So I'm going to pass it off to his brothers and sisters. They will like to say a few words, and then Pastor Bird's going to come back up and close this out. Thank you.
So I'm just gonna have the awkwardness in the room. We all have shakes and we inherited it from our father, so it may be really tough for us to hold the mic. Yeah. We are Dustin's half siblings, and we're younger. And something that always struck me about my older brothers, Gene and Dustin, is that they had every right to hate us. We were their younger half siblings. They could have just not wanted anything to do with us. Yet, because of the incredible influence they had in parents, especially Shirley, you angel, they loved us. And not only loved us, but loved us deeply and fiercely. We never really knew that they were our half siblings until we could understand it. They were just our brothers. And there are a few memories that really just stuck in my mind today to talk about. And one were the Christmases that Dustin would come and spend with us. As kids, we had a few Christmases that were really tough. And our parents weren't there in the capacity that we wished they were, or, it was just tough getting by. But we never really felt that because the joy that Dustin would bring into our lives at that time. There were a few Christmases where we didn't have much. We had a block of cheese and a few pieces of ham on a plate and a cardboard box. And that was kind of it. But they were the best Christmases in the world because Dustin would come and he'd always do Christmas videos with us. And we're not talking just like, camcorder around the house, like, hey, it's Christmas. No, we're talking full-blown sketches, okay? Dustin would literally work on these things all day. He'd wake up in the morning, he'd get his coffee, and he'd be like a mad scientist in our dad's office, just page after page, just ripping it off. And then he'd come to us by the midday and be like, all right, guys, are you ready? Are you prepared? And are you ready to work? He would literally put us through like 20 tapes. And this was when you had to put the VHS in and of course, rewind and go back. But he did all of the editing and the music, they were hilarious sketches. To the point that all of my friends to this day, these are like legendary tapes. Like we watch them and we're still laughing about them. I'll give you a little insight into it. My nickname was Queen of Two Butts. So you can only imagine what were in these tapes. Dustin always brought joy into the house. I remember with our mom, Diana, he would come in the kitchen And while she's trying to cook, he would pull out all the pots and pans and put them on the floor, okay? And my mom would be like, get out of my kitchen. And Dustin would ignore it. And I was just a tiny little thing. He'd be like, Jessica, come here. And he'd give me 2 wooden spoons and he'd be like, go to town. And he'd be like, banging. My mom would get so upset, but it was just so much fun. And the last story that I want to tell, and I think this is just so, it just shows who Dustin was in life. He never met a stranger. No matter how successful he was, no matter how famous he was, he never met a stranger. In LA, where I live last week, my husband asked me, what do you need? And a lot of times I shut down in grief. But this time around, I said, you know what, babe, I just need to be around really good friends. I just need all of our friends to come together, and I just need to be around really good friends. And he brought all of our friends, some really good friends together. And in that room, about 80% of the people that were in that room knew Dustin. And they had only met him once. But they each had a story about how Dustin touched their hearts and their lives forever. And that they would never forget him. And I thought that was one of the most beautiful things, that my friends who came together for me knew Dustin in a way that touched each one of their lives. That's who Dustin was. He wants everybody to come together and love one another fiercely, no matter what. And so before I hand the mic off to my brother Jason, I wrote a very brief poem that I'm going to read, if I can get my phone open. I'm not sure.
No, that's me looking for you today.
No, I know. Jeff and I are the worst, so. As a ray of light, you dashed across all of our skies. Through days and nights, your heart blazing. This world wasn't big enough for your brightness, but now your luminescence paints our lives in ways that continue to shimmer. Your message playing down from the heavens, gather in joy, and through all time and space, love one another fiercely.
So really tried to make a speech the last 2 weeks, and it's just really tough to articulate what Dustin meant to me. We were extremely close, so really the only way I know how to do it is tell some of my favorite stories I think really embody who Dustin is, right? So obviously the Christmas movies were a huge theme. I feel like it's probably just all 3 of us, but those movies meant so much to us as kids. So those were some lean times. But you could have gave us half a piece of chicken. If Dustin was coming, it would not matter. We looked so forward to those movies. And I bet a lot of y'all didn't realize that y'all were in the presence of royalty with Queen Ichiban. But those movies were intense. We were moving on a schedule. We would wake up at 6, presents had to be done by 7, and mom and dad wanted to eat. The table had to be cleaned by 8:30 because then we had to hit the studio. And we worked literally all day. And it was amazing, but Dustin was also there for us and so many other times. I remember in 6th grade, I had to pick between band or choir. So I picked band because I would be like Dustin. I was going to play percussion and I was going to be absolutely amazing. And the only thing I was at this point in my life is I played baseball. And I remember Dustin came in to see my first band concert. And man, I was so bummed out because the band director literally had me in the back with this standalone cymbal and he said, Jason, you count to 3 and you hit. That is it. That is it. And I remember being so bummed out. And then like afterwards, Dustin was up, he was watching me, and afterwards, like, why are you so upset? I was like, well, I just thought I was really bad at it. And then Par's like, Jason, no, you were amazing. You were so great. And then like I kind of turned my back and be like, unfortunately, I come from a very musically talented family, but I don't have that in my body. Like from the jump, just terrible. But Dustin was there. Dustin was there. He came. I remember after I graduated law school, he flew in so he could be, my dad threw me this graduation party, and Dustin flew in so he could DJ there. He DJ'd at my wedding, he was a groomsman. You know, additionally, I don't think you can think of Dustin without thinking of the outdoors. I mean, that guy loved to be outside. I remember being 4 years old, living in Wimberley, and he would take me and Jeff out, just tell mom and dad, all right, we're gonna go hiking. And we'd be gone the entire day. He would help us under barbed wire fences, which some people would call trespassing, but that's just fun. You know, one of my favorite memories, I know we got some multiple people here that go all the way back to Peppers at the Falls. So we would always, during the summer, there was like probably 5, 6 summers in there, Dustin would drive down, pick me and Jeff up, head back to San Marcos, and we would canoe the San Marcos River or float it, and then it would end back up right there kind of at the Peppers at the Falls, and the summer was always packed. Well, they used to have like this kind of like weird makeshift dam that kind of came into a waterfall. And Dustin told us one day, once you're strong enough to swim, we'll swim over the top of the waterfall, but you can actually go underneath that dam and the water comes over you. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. So I'm like 12 years old at the time. Jeff and I had always been strong swimmers. And so I said, Dustin, can we go now? And he's like, okay, we'll do it. So he's like, he kind of tells us how to swim, but he's like, y'all go first. I'll stay behind you guys. If anything happens, I'll be there to help y'all out. So we swim across, everything's fine. We get up on this waterfall, and then you kind of have to walk through it to get to the dam part where you go underneath. So we get there, and Dustin goes, okay, so I'm going to go in first, and then I'm going to reach out and grab it and pull y'all in. So like, great. He's like, I'll get Jeff first. So Jeff goes in, reaches his hand out, pulls him in. Things are looking good. It's Jason's turn. Things go south really quick. He puts his arm out, I grab it, he pulls me in. In Houston, we have a problem. The waterfall has now caught the back of my shorts. So I'm holding on to Dustin with dear life in one hand, my shorts, which is like this death grip in the other. I can't move my legs because I know if I do, the shorts are going out. So Dustin is screaming at me, what are you doing? Get in here. And I'm like, Jeff, help, help. And then at one point, Jeff is like, I'm going in. He starts to slip. So now Dustin has to grab Jeff out of that in the shorts. So we finally get it in. It's humiliating. It seems like it took forever, mine in 10 seconds. And then Dustin literally goes, all right, we gotta go. I'm like, we just got here. Why do we have to go? It's like, let me put it to you this way, Jason. There's about 100 people out there that just saw a 12-year-old's bare butt and a grown man pouring through a water. I look at Dustin, I took a breath, I said, it's gonna get better. Another time that comes to mind, we were hiking in Chad Rock and we were going to the caves. And Dustin brought a flashlight that automatically we get maybe 5 minutes into this hike and it dies. So we're like, let's abort mission. And Dustin goes, I came prepared. It's like, great, we get another flashlight. He pulls out his keychain flashlight on his keys. And he still wants to continue. He doesn't want to give up, but we get to this one opening where you almost have to crawl through it, and he shines light on it, and all you see is like it had been 10,000 daddy long legs just covering his head. And Dustin still wanted to go through with it. And me and Jeff were like, no, executive decision. We are out of here. He loved the outdoors. And the last story I'll tell is kind of goes to, the diffuse persona. So I remember I saw Dustin play a lot. We were always really lucky. He would always come to town. He'd always invite us. I mean, I saw him at the Bronco Bowl with Paul Oakenfold, which was an amazing experience. But one show that always comes to mind had to been around like 2007, 2008, and he was playing a smaller venue. He was playing at Blizzard Lounge in Dallas, but the place was just absolutely packed. And he put me on the list so I could get in because I was actually at a concert. I was coming in late, but was able to see him go on. We get in and there's still a line just wrapping around, but we're able to just walk right up, tell the balancer we're on the list, which always makes you feel uber special. So we just walk in, and then at the Wizard Lounge, you kind of walk upstairs and you have a DJ booth here, and they have like a little VIP area set up to the left. We're finally able to make it up to Dustin, and I remember he is playing that the hand drum with a speed that would make Muhammad Ali jealous. Like his hands were just lightning quick. You would think this thing was about to catch fire. The crowd's going crazy. And then I remember at one point he starts to kind of like back off the music to where he's about to like drop the beat, right? And the crowd's gonna go nuts. And he drops this beat, and then the house lights come up, and the entire place, like in unison, just jumping up and down, pointing at Dustin, screaming his name. And then I look over at Dustin, right? And he's got his signature cowboy hat on. He's got his earphones, and he's pointing back at the crowd, like, in mutual respect, thank you guys for being here. And I remember at that moment, like that was when my brother in my mind was forever immortalized. Like just, it's just crazy how we could galvanize a crowd. And, it wasn't surprising because there was a couple of times in high school where Dustin asked me, he had to go pick something up at Target, and there was a Chili's right by Target. And he would ask me after Chili's, after Target, you want to go eat? I'm like, sure, let's go eat. And I remember we're sitting there, and this guy recognizes Dustin, and he comes over, and he's like, oh my gosh, you're defused. And Dustin's like, yeah. He's like, you mind if I get a picture? He's like, sure. So this is back in the day, it's not a cell phone, so he has to run to his car with a digital one. He comes back in, takes a picture with Dustin, but I remember Dustin asking me, like, do you mind if he sits down with me for like invite him to hang out? I said, no, let's do it. And I remember the guy was like, wanted to ask Dustin all these questions, and Dustin would just flip it around. All he wanted to do was talk about that specific person. He was just always really good at making you feel like he was invested in you in like $1 million. And it's because he meant it. So fast forward about 8 months later, same thing happens. Dustin's got to go to Target. We go eat Chili's. Same thing. This guy comes up and he's like, I don't know if you remember, but I saw you at the show and Dustin knew the guy's name. And I was really young. I didn't really understand how big Dustin was. The only thing that kept going through my head was Dustin eats at Chili's a lot. I didn't even know if I could throw out TGI Fridays. But as much as Dustin loved what he did, and as much as the fans loved him, Dustin loved the fans. It was always about the human connection and being invested in you as a person. And that's what I'll always remember about my big brother. I mean, he was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, Dustin, I just want to say I miss you. I love you. Thank you for being a great role model, a great brother, and thank you for being my friend.
All right, so I'm going to try to keep this short. I've got 2 quick stories. Oddly enough, they revolve around arrows and Dustin incriminating himself. Who knew that was a thing? And then I've got one thing that I want to close up with, but I'll start off with the movie moment, since all 3 of us have gone through the movie moments. In early, I'm going to say it was 1993, 1992, 1993. It was a good year. I had gotten this Batman airplane that shot darts for Christmas. And Dustin was infatuated. I mean, he immediately took that thing and shot every arrow he possibly could, every dart he possibly could. And he did. And oddly enough, the next day we couldn't find any of them. Like they were all gone. And I was like, Dustin, how is this happening? He was like, I don't know. I don't know. So we have a great time. We can't find it. I said, oh, it didn't matter. It was all good. I was upset for about 10 seconds, and I was like, let's go do something else. So 2 days later, Dustin has gone back down to Austin, and we're watching videotapes that we made. And I noticed in one of the scenes, Dustin's rolling up on Dad with this Batman airplane. And he shoots like 3 darts right over Dad's shoulder into the fireplace. Oh my God, it got burned. Dustin incriminated himself. No, I didn't. I forgave him immediately. A couple years down the road, we started going to Enchanted Rock and Mount Baldy, floating the San Marcos River with Kirk back there. You guys trying to scare the crap out of us about going over the falls. Dustin and I and Jason went up to, it was Mount Baldy, and Dustin and his, young and wild and free state. So he wanted to play Cowboys and Indians, boys. And of course, we went and bought these really awesome bow and arrow sets, right? So we're like shooting arrows at each other and climbing rocks, and they weren't real arrows, like I said, play arrows. And then I'm pretty sure we didn't come back with any of those arrows. Pretty sure they all got lost somewhere up on Mount Baldwin. But we didn't care. We had a blast. We had so much fun. And I was the person that Dustin was. And will be forever. I spent 2 weeks trying to figure out what to say, and I didn't know what I wanted to say until about 2 hours ago when we were at Texas Staple Buc-ee's, and we were getting energy drinks and whatnot. And I thought about it. You know, Dustin's incredible to everybody, but Dustin took such good care of us when we were little kids. The one thing I want Dustin to know is that even though we're not young anymore, he will forever live on in the hearts and eyes of 3 kids that love him so much. And with that, I'm going to stop talking because I'm shaking like crazy.
That one's better.
Yeah.
Man, this will be a hard act to follow. First of all, I just wrote down some things. I just want to thank everybody for being here. I mean, there's so many people here and I see the faces and my heart just really says thank you. Well, I know we have Tom Carter here. If you were ever in our neighborhood, you wanted Tom Carter to throw you the football, not Roy Cavaretta. We've got, I mean, so many people. Roland, would you stand up a minute, please? Roland is my dear friend from Africa. And we are brothers, like brothers never are. And wonderful neighbor, Mr. Charles, will you stand, please? They're just my neighbor, and they're here for us. And it was just amazing. Thank you. I also wanna just, tell my wife, she's here, she's in the back, at Deli, being here. My son Johnny, the grandkid, and I know JT is coming, he's on the way. He had to fight a fire, last night, so he's running late, he's a fireman. And, I wanted to thank, Nellie, Elma, and Maria for being here. Please stand up. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you so much for this family. And, so anyway, and then I have Ken Stevens. How many people can say you've got a best friend for 50 years? We met when we were 8 years old. Ken, please stand. Okay, the early years, I just want to let you know, I didn't really get these views. And I knew my brother was big, but my brother could have been Mick Jagger. He was always just Dustin to me, my brother. And in the early years, we would be in our room, and Dustin had a little set of drums. I'd be Mick Jagger, just doing my thing. Get it, Dustin? And you know, and we played a whole concert. We do 4 hours, and it was just amazing. And then we had the football game. Now I told my brothers and sisters the story last night, they loved it. But Kent and me, and I was the quarterback, we were playing, with the other kids and it was on the street. And, I'd say, all right, Kent, we actually had plays. We run L1, okay, Kent, you're going L1, all right, you're doing this. And Dustin would come on, what do I do? You're getting the bullet. You're going 15 yards and you're gonna get the bullet. Oh, no, not the bullet. He said, I can't catch that. I said, well, anybody else can catch it either, and we don't have to worry about it. So he was just a lot of fun and he, through the years, I mean, of course, the younger years, but so much fun. Many motorcycle rides, we all had dirt bikes, many motorcycle rides and out and just, whether it be Wimberley or Dustin was always there. Kent, unfortunately, he was always there with me too. And we just always had a wonderful time. And now I kind of get to a little bit later where I have to say I was the one that brought these views. And the reason I'm saying this, great story. So back in the 80s, we didn't have, well, you could only buy tickets to a concert if you stood in line. There was no internet, so it was first come, first served. So I was actually working at Luby's at this time, and I said, Ken, we gotta get tickets to this thing. And I said, well, and the kid said, I'll go, and I'll get the tickets. I said, okay, it's gonna be me, you, and Dustin. All right. So he goes, and the poor guy is in January out at Amelia Mall, and to stand there for 3 hours in the cold. And he got the tickets, and I remember I told Dustin, we're going to see you too. And he had dabbled in drums before, but he wasn't deep fuse as you would know him. So the night comes up, we're ready to go. And I said, all right. He said, what are we gonna do? I said, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Barrett Station and see Honey Child. And Honey Child, yeah, anyway, it's better. So we go and we get our little bottles of Jack Daniels. Sorry, Pastor. Little bottles of Jack Daniels, vodka, Swisher Sweet. We had the whole thing. Now, how are we gonna get it into the summit? They're gonna check, right? And I said, I got the idea. They ain't checking that. You wear your boots. You're young, they won't check it. No, they won't check it. So sure enough, we put everything in his boots. We walk in, they frisk us, they just let Dustin go by. We're up on the balcony level, front row, smoking Swisher Sweets and having Jack and Cove, and yeah, it was great. And I can remember Dustin saying that when he first heard, this is the unforgettable fire. And Bono walks out, and you hear Larry Mullen Jr. playing drum. Dustin's eyes went, he'd never been to a concert, and his eyes went, it was like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. He was so enamored with Larry Mullen Jr. and you two. And we had such a great time that night. So I just want to let you know, I was the one that brought the then the unbelievable vinyl nights that me and Dustin would do. I collect vinyl. And I would be the grill master, of course. He loved my grilling. And we would spend hours going through different, and I got to introduce him to Nina Simone. He didn't know who Nina Simone was, the priestess of soul. There was a lot I introduced him. There was a lot he introduced me. And it was really great because we could sit, we could enjoy each other. And that's the one thing that me and my brother actually loved to do was spin vinyl and listen to all kinds of music. So that was a lot of fun. And then my last story, I I have some here, we did a podcast, and this was hilarious. We did a podcast and we did from 20, I can't find the podcast, I've tried to find it down. But we did this awesome podcast where we did the top 20 live albums that we felt were the best. And we did from 20 to 11. And unfortunately, we never did the top 10. But something told me that I need to tell y'all what were the top 2 live albums that me and Dustin agreed on. The second one was Neil Diamond, the original Hot August Night live at the Groove. Bar none, the second. The first one, and you'll be surprised at this, Supertramp, live in Paris. And we had a great time going through those live albums and listening to them and saying, oh, no, that doesn't go there. Yeah, that goes there. No, it doesn't. But we had such a good time. And then I want to go through, I visited California one time. And, I always told Dustin the old saying with David Crockett, you can go to hell, I'm going to Texas. And I always say, I don't need to go to California though. Yes, you do. You gotta come. You gotta come. And no, I don't need. Well, little did I know, 4 months later, my favorite singer, Natalie Merchant, was gonna be playing at the Groove. So now I gotta call Dustin and say, oh, guess what? I'm coming. So we got tickets, I got tickets, and so we went camping to Joshua Tree, which was amazing. And it was really like a spiritual thing for me. And we set up camp and we were gonna go hiking. And my brother said, well, you're not be able to handle this hiking. I said, listen, Dustin, I played tennis in 120-degree weather in Houston. This ain't nothing. So we went and we did this wonderful hike where we went out and just unbelievable. And when we got back, the muskrats, they looked like squirrels, had got into Dustin's Phrygia wine and it was all gone. And we couldn't find any muskrats. And